Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Fiber of My Being podcast. This is a knitting, crochet, and other fiber-related arts podcast. And I'm Megan. I'm 25 years old. I live in Pennsylvania with my husband and our 3 cats. And today I've got one who wants to make a cameo. This is our new kitten. This is Agatha. She's 6 months old. She's an adorable little tuxedo kitty, and she is fascinated by all of the yarn that's surrounding me right now. So if you hear any commotion, it's probably her playing with my finished objects or my works in progress. So say hi to the camera, Agatha. She's really a sweetie. She's a lap cat. But she's feeling playful right now, so I'm going to let her go and get on to the podcast. So, as I already said, my name is Megan. I'm a knitter, crocheter. I do some spinning on a drop spindle and a little bit of yarn dyeing, and various other fiber-related crafts as I feel like it. You can find me on Ravelry as Fiber of My Being, and you can find me on Instagram as Megan Tomkeel. I will put those details in the description of the video. And additionally, I started a Ravelry group for the podcast. The group is called Fiber of My Being Podcast. Feel free to post questions or suggestions there. I opened up a thread for that. Feel free to open up your own threads as well. And I will be trying to post a thread of the week every week. And so the thread that I would like to start this week is on the last podcast, the first podcast, I shared my own knit history. And so now I would like to hear the knit histories of my viewers. So go on over to the Ravelry group and tell me how you got started knitting. If you've been knitting since you were a baby, or if you just started 2 weeks ago. If somebody taught you, or if you learned through YouTube videos. I'd love to hear more about that. So head on over to the Ravelry group and let me know. And I am also going to work on show notes at some point. I know that's something that podcasters do, but I haven't quite gotten the hang of it yet. So I will try to do that. And when I do, I will probably try to put them up in the Ravelry group, or I will let you know where the show notes are at. I don't really know how to do it yet, so I'm still pretty new at this. Please bear with me. Alright, so this week in review. Last week I showed you all of my whips, and I had a lot of them, and it wasn't even all of them, I discovered. I found some ones that are so old that I forgot about them, so I'll be showing those to you this week as well. And I said that I wouldn't cast anything on because I had too much stuff to work on. Well, I did. I think I'm probably going to call this episode, Oops, I Cast On Again, because, well, I'm a 90s kid, and so I feel like that's fitting. I did cast on, but also, I actually have a lot of FOs. Most of the things that I cast on this week, I finished. They're either FOs or they're HOs. So yeah, and I also have some acquisitions this week. I know I said because I am a grad student, I'm busy and broke, but this week I did actually get some acquisitions for some upcoming projects, and you can kind of see them on the couch behind me, and I'll show you those later in the podcast. So, without further ado, how about we get to some FOs? And I apologize if you can hear the sounds of Agatha, our kitten, tearing all over the house. She's playing with those little mouse toys, and she really loves them. She's running up and down the stairs, and she's really underfoot, so we had to put a collar with a bell on her so that we don't step on her, and we still step on her a lot. So, so apologies for the noise, and I will start with some FOs. So this was an FO last week too, but I said I was going to put a pom-pom on it, and I did. So this is the Picholine hat, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, by Jocelyn Tunney on Ravelry. I knit this in Patons Classic Wool Roving. It's a super bulky yarn, and the colorway here is cherry, and it's really hard to get a good look at this color. It always shows up more red on camera than it actually is, but it's a lot more pink. Like, it almost looks like that color right there. It's really, really hard to get a good picture, but I really love this hat. It's so squishy, and the pom-pom really makes it. I will put it on for a second so you can see. So it's nice and squishy, big hat. I'm super excited to wear this. I went a little hat crazy this week. I was kind of the Mad Hatter, and I think it's because fall is coming, and fall is my favorite season, and hats are perfect for fall. So this has a bias knit pattern, and I was super excited to try it, and so I think it turned out great. I didn't do anything about the loose cast on at the bottom, but I think it actually looks okay when it's on my head. So I think I'm going to leave it for now, and if the cast on gets too stretched out with wear, then I will try to adjust it somehow. Maybe do some crochet stitches to bring it in. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I made this pom-pom by hand. I really don't like making pom-poms because I usually have so much trouble. I do like the crochet circle method, or the cardboard circle method. Sorry, I can't talk today. To hand make my pom-poms, but this one turned out really well. And then this week, this sort of falls under acquisitions, but when I was out getting some of the yarn, they also had pom-pom makers on sale, and so I got the bigger sizes of pom-pom makers because if I'm gonna go with pom-poms, I tend to like big pom-poms. So I got the big size and the medium size. They came in a set together, and so I'm super excited to try these out because I really actually like the look of pom-poms, but I've just hated making them. So there's so many projects that were supposed to have a pom-pom on them and didn't. So I'm super excited now. So that's my first FO. Second up, last week this was an HO, and now it's an FO. These are the arched Gusset Mittens from Purl Soho on Ravelry, and they look really bad on my hands because they're not made for my hands. They're the large size made for my husband, but he's not here right now, so I will put them on my hands to show you. So like I explained last week, the gusset actually follows like the line of your thumb, which makes them super comfortable. And I adapted the pattern a little because the original pattern just had a stockinette cuff the whole way down, so it was like a rolled cuff, and it looked really nice. But and I've knit some with the rolled cuff, but my husband and I tend to wear our mittens to go like hiking in the winter, and so I wanted a cuff that would really help hold in the warmth a bit more, so I adapted it. So I used 3.25 millimeter needles for the ribbing, and then 3.5 for the rest of the mitten. And this is knit in Patons Classic Wool worsted weight. This is the Light Grey Marl colorway. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. So yeah, now now it's an FO instead of an HO. So I'm super excited about that. Next up is one FO that's technically tons of FOs. So last week I showed you I had this little bowl full of little scrunched up crocheted snowflake ornaments, and now you can see the bowl is empty, which is a good sign. So what I've been doing is that I've been blocking them and starching them, and I keep them in this little Christmas cookie tin because we had it left over, and I hate to waste these pretty tins. So I keep my ornaments in here to keep them safe. So I have now a huge stack of snowflake ornaments. Some of these were already in the tin, just a few of them, but some of them, most of them, I starched up this week. So I'll just quickly go through and just give you a glimpse of each of them because they're super pretty, but I'm not going to tell you what each pattern is because that would take too long, and I don't even think I remember what most of these patterns are. These are all from the snowcatcherphotos.com directory. It's a blog, and I believe it's a she who runs the blog. She makes really, really pretty snowflakes of all shapes and sizes. She makes a few other things too, but it's mostly these gorgeous snowflakes. And so the directory has pictures of all the snowflakes, and it's gorgeous. And I just go and print out like multiple things, multiple snowflakes at a time onto one sheet of paper, and then I just crochet them in waves. I'm pulling aside some of my favorites so I can show you those towards the end. But I'm just going to let you at least glimpse all of these because they're gorgeous. I don't even know how many snowflakes I'm up to right now. Most of these I crocheted last year, so I might do a few more this year. But I'm super happy with how these turned out. I'm getting towards the end of the pile, so sorry if this is taking a while. I'm trying to think of what else I can tell you while I'm showing you these. So, these are crocheted in size 10 crochet thread. I did a mix of white, obviously, traditional snowflake color, and this one's a little droopy, and blue, because I thought that also looked kind of wintry as well. So those are most of my snowflakes there, and then I'll show you a couple of my favorites that I can actually tell you a little more about. Well, I lied. I can't really tell you more about this one because I don't remember what the pattern is for this one, but I love it with the two color details. And then this one I do remember. This is her Elsa's snowflake pattern, and I don't know if you can tell, but the spokes here are actually braided loops to look like Elsa's braids from Frozen, which I really liked that movie, so I thought this was a cute snowflake to make. So these are almost all FOs now. I only have one more that's still blocking because it was big and I couldn't fit it. So I thought I'd show you my blocking process for these as well. So I have this like half of a box that I cut out, and I just taped some wax paper on top, and then I pinned down the snowflakes. Some of them take more pinning than others. And I have a special set of just plain old pins that I use exclusively for this because they get kind of sticky and gummy, and I don't want to use them for anything else after that. So I have a special snowflake set of pins, and I just pin them down, and then I mixed together some water and some plain old like Elmer's glue, and I brush that on with a sponge brush. And then I get the best results when after they're dry, they take about a day to dry. I pull the pins out, I flip them over, I pin them lightly again, and I glue them again on the other side. And I usually get pretty good results from that. And also, you can put glitter on these. Like after you put the glue on, you can just sprinkle some glitter on. So if you want to do glitter, then it's best to glue it on both sides, because then you have glitter on both sides. I've done some with glitter for gifts before, but the glitter just gets everywhere. So my husband and I decided we were okay with the non-glittery versions because they're still gorgeous even without glitter. But feel free to use glitter on these if you want to. So that's my process, and they're almost all FOs now. I just have to glue this one again. So I'm really happy about that. All right, let me shift around a little. Sorry. So my next FO is this Brioche cable cap by Marilynn Blacketer on Ravelry. I knit this in Lion brand Woolease yarn. I believe it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. And this is in the Avocado colorway and the natural colorway. And so I've knit a little bit of brioche before, but mostly just one color brioche. So I was excited to try out some two color brioche, and I thought this hat looked great. And it fits my husband's head, and he's been looking for a nice like longer cap, because some of the hats I've made him before are a lot shorter and don't cover his ears. So I think this will be for him. Plus the colors look like him. He's very much a like woodsy color type person. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I underestimated how hard it would be to count rows in brioche stitch, so that I could make the cables the same like length every single time. And so I think that technically my cables start kind of descending in length as you go up, but I kind of like it that way. I don't think it looks bad. I'm not one to stress over like tiny mistakes. If it's a big mistake, I'll go back and fix it, but I'm not one to stress over tiny mistakes. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And of course it's reversible because of brioche. So yeah, really happy. My husband's happy, so that's good. And I'm glad that I was able to finish this. And I've been participating in the Hey Sister hat cal, and I already entered a few hats into that, but I'm super excited that I have a few more hats to enter. I'm sorry, there's like something in my eye. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm excited to have more hats to enter, because besides this one as an FO, I also have this one, which wasn't even a whip last week. So this is what I was talking about when I said I cast on again. This is the Bon Bon Toque by Tin Can Knits. I knit this also in Woolease. I have a lot of Woolease in lots of pretty colors, and I think they make great hats. And this is in the dark rose heather colorway. I don't remember what needles I used for these. It was whatever it called for in the pattern. I didn't change the pattern at all. And I made the lady slouch version, which has these lovely little eyelet details, eyelet lace in between the cables, and I just thought the look of the lace and the cables together looked really nice. So I did the lady slouch version. Only, for some reason, mine didn't turn out as a slouch, it just turned out as a beanie. But I'm actually kind of okay with that, because I like the way it looks. And I have some slouchy hats already, and I kind of look better in beanies a lot of times, so I'm okay with it turning out as a beanie instead of a slouch. I don't know why it turned out as a beanie instead of a slouch, because I knit the slouch version and I knit the right length. Like, it wasn't by row counts, it was by length, but for some reason it still turned out as a beanie. But I'm okay with that. So I'm happy with how this turned out. I haven't blocked it yet, which I think might help open up the lace a little bit, but when it's on my head, it looks fine. I often don't block my hats because they look fine on your head, so that's the bonbon toque. And then I told you I went hat crazy, and I really did. This is the Paint by Numbers hat by the Plucky Knitter. It's not blocked yet, so there's a lot of tension issues still, but I wanted to be able to show it to you on the podcast today, so I figured I'd wait until after to block it. And I really liked the original picture of this pattern. The colors that she used in her hat were gorgeous, but I also had this collection of fall colors. This is knit in Woolease again, in various colors. I can't even tell you all of the colors in here because I don't remember. But it's knit in Woolease, and I've been really looking for something I could make with all of the fall colors together. And when I saw this hat, I just thought it would be perfect. So I knit it in fall colors instead. And I knit the slouchy version. So it's got a lot of nice slouch, and it'll look nicer and slouchier once it's blocked, of course. So I'll try and show that to you next week. But I really like these stripes around here, and I worked on jogless knitting, because I've knit lots of colorwork patterns before, but I always get jogs, and so I really concentrated on not getting jogs this time around, and I think I managed to succeed because the join is right around here, and the stripes look pretty seamless. Up here, there's a little bit more of a jog, but I'm gonna block that out with blocking. So, really happy with how this turned out. I think it was knit on 5mm needles. I do remember a lot of the colors, actually. I forgot. This is the mushroom colorway. The yellow there is the gold colorway, and then the pumpkin is the orange, and then this, it looks brown in here, but it's actually this really pretty reddish color, is chestnut heather. The only one I can't remember is the red, because I lost the ball band for that, but it's your typical, like, cherry red color. So, the only bad thing about this was, this week I was watching, the Knitting Expat. I've been watching lots of back episodes of her podcast, and she was talking about how she tried a twisted rib for the first time. And I was sitting there and I was going, didn't I just knit a twisted rib for something? Because I'm pretty sure I did, but I haven't seen it in a while. And I was like inspecting all of my whips, because this was still a whip at the time, and I was trying to find the twisted rib. And there's no twisted rib on this, right? Except, oops, there is. Somehow, my twisted rib ended up on the inside of the hat instead of the outside. So that was a little bit of a bummer, because I do like the look of twisted rib, but also this looks fine too. So I'll just probably put a twisted rib on another hat sometime soon, and it'll be fine. By the time I realized that the twisted rib was on the wrong side, I was already like way up here, so there was no way I was going back. I decided it wasn't worth it. So, but I'm happy with how this turned out. I'm super excited to wear this for fall. Alright, I gotta flip my notes here, sorry. Alright, now I'm to HOs. So I have two HOs. One of them hasn't made any progress since last week. It's the tutu slipper that I showed you. Still looks as bad as ever right now because it's not on a foot. But I haven't made any progress on this because I tried to do the cast on for the second one, but I couldn't remember. I don't do much toe-up knitting, so I still haven't like memorized the Judy's Magic Cast On. So I need to go look up a video on how to do that again. So I might try to cast on the other slipper this week. This is knit in Michael's Loops and Thread brand Woolease sock yarn. Not Woolease, I'm sorry. Wool-like. It's like wool, but it's not. But it feels really nice. It's 100% acrylic, but I really, really like this yarn. It's cheap, it comes in large quantities, and it has made really, really good products for me thus far. This is knit on 2mm and 2.75mm needles, and the pattern is by Christine Griffin Grimes from the book French Girl Knits Accessories. So I'm hoping to cast on the other one, like I said, and I've also been looking for the right kind of ribbon to put through the little eyelet details here, and the right kind of button as well. I looked for them when I was out getting yarn, and they didn't have the right things that I was looking for. So I'm going to keep looking for those and keep trying to work on this. My other HO was not even a whip last week, and that is this paved boot cuff by Tin Can Knits. I didn't block it, so the rib at the top and the bottom is still a little funky from the cabling, but I really liked how this turned out. So I knit this up really, really quickly. The pattern's super easy and super nice, and I already have probably half of the other boot cuff done. I did this in like an hour last night. So hopefully this will be an FO next week. I was really hoping to have it be an FO this week, but I was going to try and charge through and finish this last night, but it was just getting so late, and I just decided I really shouldn't. So, and this is knit out of Woolease, again, Lion Brand Woolease. I believe the colorway on this is Blue Mist. It's blue, but it has these nice little specks of like green and purple and red in it that you can almost see there. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. Since it's fall, it's just about boot season too, so, and I don't have many boot cuffs, so I thought boot cuffs are an easy way to learn new techniques. Not that I really learned anything new. I've done cables before, but it's just a nice way to try out new patterns without having to do too much work because they're pretty small and pretty quick. So that's the last of my HOs. And now I will move on to whips. Excuse me for a second though. What I'm drinking today is, I really like seltzer water, so this is just like Giant brand seltzer, watermelon flavored. I do like tea, just like a lot of podcasters do, but it's so hot. I don't really want hot tea right now, so I'll get into the tea drinking in a month or so. So yeah. Alright, on to whips. So a lot of these whips have not made any progress, and I'll let you know if I'm showing you something with no progress. So this is one of them, the Santa stocking. Still no progress on it. I've been stopping in at my local yarn shop to try and get some advice about what I might be able to do about the beard, because this Santa is really creepy looking right now and really needs a beard. But I need to go stop in again because the person that I was told to talk to wasn't there at the time. So But if anybody has any ideas about how I could make a beard look better on this, please let me know. The problem I'm having, the beard looks like it was just like latch hooked or crochet hooked onto the knitting. But when I tried to do that with my worsted weight yarn, because it looks like the same yarn that was used for the stocking as well, when I tried to do that, the knots were just too big. They were taking up too much space on the knitting, and the actual yarn tails were not taking up enough space. So Santa's beard was coming out looking all like scraggly and like limp, and Santa's beard should not look either of those things. So I'm not quite sure how to make a nice fluffy beard, because Santa's beard is supposed to take up probably this much of the space and be rather rounded. So I'm not really sure how what I can do to secure the yarn without using like the half hitch knots of latch hook or crochet hooks that I can use to make his beard look better. I don't have any clues from the original, because all I have, this is a commission project, and all I have to go on are pictures. So I can't really tell how it was attached in the pictures. But so if you've ever encountered anything like this before and you have any ideas, please let me know, because I really need to make this Santa look less creepy. His face looks really, really creepy right now, but that's because most of his face is going to be covered by the beard. So once the beard is on, it really, really will look better. So if you have any ideas, please, please, please let me know. Thanks. Alright, second whip that I've made no progress on is my Wispy Willow cardigan from the magazine Love of Knitting magazine. And this is the summer 2014 issue. The pattern is by Cheryl Beckrich. And this is knit in wool-like, again, the sock yarn, on 3.75 millimeter needles. And I've made no progress on this week. But I'm hoping that I can get a few inches of the body done this week, because I really am getting close to being done with this. And then the finishing is really easy, because the sleeves are just cap sleeves. And there's no, like, button band. There's just a little bit of ribbing. So, sorry. Yarn. Yarn ends up everywhere in my house. Either yarn or cat hair. Alright, so, yeah, I haven't made any progress on this whip either. So I'm hoping to do more of that next week. This week. Alright. Also, another whip is my Baby's Breath. Oh, it's getting all tangled. My Baby's Breath scarf by Yumiko Alexander from the Rustic Modern Knits book. I really, really like this pattern. It's got these beautiful Noop stitch lace motifs down at the bottom, and then this daisy chain pattern that splits up these little like bubbles of stockinette. And I haven't done any knitting on this week because I've been casting on a lot and casting off a lot. But I want to try and change that. So I'm going to try and knit one of these repeats each week until I'm done with the scarf. I think that's how I'm going to handle this. So one of these like bobble and daisy chain sections at a time. And then I should be done with this in no time. And this is knit in drops lace, 70% alpaca, 30% silk, mulberry silk. So soft. I don't know the colorway. The color number is 7120. And so I'm super excited. This is my first project with lace yarn. And so I really, really want to keep working on it, but obviously it's taking a while because it's lace yarn. Also, didn't get any work done on this week. This is the Luna Poppy baby cardigan. It's upside down, sorry. The Luna Poppy baby cardigan by J. Weilman of Distant Hills on Ravelry. This is on 4mm needles. This is in Bernat Baby Softy. I don't know what color, it's just this like seafoam green color. And I'm knitting the A-line style, so you can see the raglan shapings here, but then the shaping continues on down the sweater to make an A-line style. So I think I'm really almost done with this. I really want to try and finish this week because it's a baby sweater. It doesn't take very long, but I just didn't get any work done on it this week. So that's another whip that saw no love this week. On the other hand, this whip did see some love. I've had this on my needles for a very long time, and so I really felt like I should try and knit a little bit of it, and I can only knit a little bit of this at a time. So I figure I'll just knit a little each week until I'm done. And this is the Vincent cuff by Megan Wood, I believe. Megan Wood on Ravelry. This is knit in size 10 crochet thread, but it's knitting. And uses seed beads. I don't remember which size, whatever size it calls for in the pattern. And these are on my teeny tiny 1.25mm sock needles. I'm finding it easier to knit with my little metal set of sock needles versus my bamboo set, because with the beads it really makes it easier to use these needles. And I did actually get a lot done, like I said, because I think last week I was somewhere down in this area, and now I've knit most of this star. So I'll show you the picture of what it's supposed to look like here. I'm using different colors because I felt like that yellow was really, really harsh and doesn't look very much like the gold that's used in the actual painting. So I'm using different colors, and for some reason mine is coming out backwards. Like, the swirl is supposed to start on this side of the cuff, and it's starting on this side instead. So I don't know what's up with that, but as long as it turns out okay, as long as it turns out looking like Starry Night, even if it's backwards, I'm not too annoyed by that. So I'm hoping to knit some more of this week, so that I can keep chugging along and getting it done. Next up, also saw no love this week, was the Natalie Shrug by Megan Granholm, from the book Simply Crochet, 25 Stylish Designs for Every Day. This is Tunisian crochet. It's like a griddle stitch, which I really like the look of. And this is done on a 3.75mm Tunisian hook with this big long strand of cording on the end of it. And so I'm working on the back. I think maybe I might have crocheted one row of this at some point this week, actually. But still, not very much progress. So I'm hoping to make a little more progress on that. And this is done in wool-like sock yarn. Again, I have a lot of projects going in that yarn. Like my next one. Also saw no love, the Globetrotter shawl pattern by Patons. It's a Brioche lace pattern with this lovely serpentine tape of crochet, and then there are stripes in the middle, and then I've got another tape to attach to the other end once it's done. And this is crocheted with a 3.75mm hook, a size F hook, And this is also done in wool-like sock yarn, and also saw no progress. This one has been on my hook for months now, so I'm really hoping that I can work on this some more, because this would be really nice to wear for fall. So I think I'll try and work on that. Next up, this also saw no love, is the Fraulein scarf by Pam Powers from the book Dress to Impress Knitted Scarves. This is knit in this, oh, it's all falling apart, in this Woolette, it's a boucle type yarn from Michael's Loops and Threads brand. It's 48% acrylic, 46% wool, and 6% polyester. And this is the gold colorway. So that's what's used for this like ruffled, ruched neck section. And then the long ties are just done in Red Heart in this like off-white color. I don't remember the exact color. And then has a provisional cast on so that I can pick up stitches and knit the other side of the scarf. And I haven't done anything on that yet this week either. Next, I was really hoping this would be off my crochet hook this week, because there's really not that much work left to be done on it, but it's still on the hook. This is the Threads and Beads Infinity Scarf by, it's on the Speckless blog. It's crocheted in size 10 crochet thread on a 5mm hook. No, 2mm hook, I'm sorry. I don't know where I got the 5 from. And once I'm done with, I have to do the rest of this side of the edging so that it matches this side, and then block it, of course, because this just looks pretty terrible right now. And then I need to string beads through these little eyelet holes on the edge, so that it's thread and beads. So I'm hoping to at least have the border done and get this blocked this week. I don't know when I'll be able to get the beads for it, so it still might be a whip for a while, but I'm hoping to at least have the crocheting done by the next podcast. So that's that. Surprise, surprise, I have another whip that saw no love this week, and that was this incredibly tiny little Hazel the Humpback Whale by Beck Britton on Ravelry. It was written for DK yarn, but I sized it down to sock because I just wanted like a little mini whale. And this is on size 2.5mm double pointed needles, and it's knit in wool-like again. Got this navy color here, and then a gray color that'll be joined up for the like belly and some of the other details then. So this pattern is really, really complicated though, so I'm not surprised that I didn't do any work on it yet. Next, also saw no love, is the bohus style knee highs, all strandy all over the place, by Chrissy Gardner from the book Color Style. This is knit on 2.25mm needles, cuffed down, obviously. The leg looks really, really tiny, but it's very stretchy with this ribbing. And this is knit from wool-like, again, surprise, surprise. I have a lot of wool-like. And so I haven't really gotten any progress done on this. This week I'm hoping to at least get to the heel. That would be nice. Even if I don't knit the heel, I would like to get to the point where I can knit the heel. So that's my goal. Another whip that saw no love is the Heather Shawl by Suzanne Vish on Ravelry. The pattern is not available right now. I think she might be updating it. This is knit out of Bernat Baby Softy in yellow. And it's a Faroese style shawl, like I said last week. Only it's knit top down. I have it upside down. It's knit top down instead of bottom up, but it's got this center panel here, like Faroese shawls do. And it does have a little bit of like wing shaping there to help it hold on your shoulders. But I've been getting really confused by this pattern, so there hasn't been any progress this week. I'm nearing the end of my whips pile. I really am, I promise. Also, I didn't knit much of this week, although I think I did knit a little bit. This is my vacation project bag by Marley Bird from the Love of Knitting magazine, summer 2014 issue. It looks like this. Crazy kitten. Sorry, she's like jumping at the window. Stay away from my yarn. This is what this is supposed to look like, only I'm knitting it in navy and white instead of this like light blue and white. And I got a little bit knit on this. The square's a little bit bigger, but still not much progress. So, story of my life, right? Come here, kitten. Let's put you back on the podcast so that you're not playing with my yarn. So, I have a few more projects. Some of these are almost whips, actually. They were ones that almost FOs, I mean, I can't talk today. They were ones I discovered after last week. But all of them still have a little bit of work done, so I threw them into the whips pile for now. But I will show these to you. I didn't write down the information for these, though. I'm sorry. This is the, I think it's called the Love and Loyalty Pinball. It's from the Best of Jane Austen Knits book. And so it's a very complicated pattern because it's kind of like stranded intarsia type knitting here. And I'm knitting this in size 10 crochet thread in blue and white right now. And then the other side is going to be gold and white. And then you join up, you stuff the pinball and you join it up and everything. But I've had this on my needles for a while. It's on those same needles as my Vincent cuff. And I don't know who designed the pattern. It's in the book. I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. I'll try and put it in the show notes. Hi. Sorry. I reached my maximum size a little bit earlier today. So I'm trying to speak quickly, but my kitten is biting at my yarn. And so I'm getting a little distracted by Agatha. But how can you be mad at that face for very long? All right, Agatha, be free. All right, so I'm almost done with whips. I recently sort of finished up this bookmark. It's a filet crochet bookmark. I've never done filet crochet before, so I thought a bookmark was a good way to try it out. And so I like how the pattern on the inside turned out, but then the bordering along the edges got really, really confusing. And so I think that's why this isn't an FO yet. I don't know if blocking will help. Blocking will probably help make the border look nicer. But I'm happy with the way that the inside turned out. And it was a fun experiment in trying filet crochet. And I'm excited to try more because with filet crochet you can basically make any sort of image you want in your lace crochet. So I might try and design something like that at some point. And this is just in size 10 crochet thread. I have this huge like basket of all different colors of these because I love working with this thread. So yeah, that's an almost FO. And then I guess this probably should have been in the FO category, but I still kind of need to do a little bit more on this. I can't for the life of me remember the details of this pattern. I believe it's called Hold On to Your Hat. It's from a, I think it's from the Crochet Skill Builder book. I will put all of this in the show notes. But it's actually done in Tunisian crochet. I know it looks like knitting, but it's Tunisian crochet. And I picked this hat because of this lovely like cross hatching type pattern on the brim. And it turned out really kind of huge. So it looks pretty ridiculous on my head. But it actually looks really good on my husband's head. And these are like the perfect colors for him. Very woodsy. So I just have to like sew in the ends and maybe do a little bit of blocking to make it look better. And then this will be an FO. So hopefully next week this will be an FO. Oh no. My yarn is all falling down into the couch. Alright, there we go. Crisis averted. Oh, I totally skipped one. This, I was really hoping that this would be an FO this week, but I ran into some trouble. So this is the turban hat by Bernat Design Studios on Ravelry. I showed this to you last week, only it was just a super long strip of mistake rib. This week I finished the strip, obviously, and I started trying to piece it together. And I pieced it together the way it told me to, but it's come out looking like a boat instead of a hat. It's like super wide. Well, I don't know. It actually doesn't look bad right now. But it came out super wide and super shallow. So I might try and kind of, I've left the ends dangling because I might try and like rip back and try and sew it together in a little bit of a better way so that it looks more like how it's supposed to. But this is done in Patons classic wool in a color I dyed up myself with Easter egg dye. And it's knit on 5mm needles, I think. So that's that. I think that's all the ones I skipped over by accident now. And so yeah. What else do I have? I'm sorry. Oh yes. This is almost an FO as well. This is a little felted coin purse. I don't remember, I think this is like a pattern put out by Lion Brand Yarns. And it's made out of Patons classic wool. And you just knit up like a simple rectangle and then felt it down, which I felted it in my washing machine, which is not very precise because I have a front loader instead of a top loader, so I can't really check it all that often, but I haven't had any problems with felting in it yet. So I just felted the rectangle down and then stitched it together with blanket stitch and did some chain stitching details on the front for the little swirly bits. And so the only thing I have left to do is sew on this little toggle bead onto the front so that it can be held together, and then this will be an FO. And I've had this sitting around for a while, but I haven't been able to find a toggle bead. It's actually really hard for me to find toggle beads, but I found these the other day at Walmart, and they fit perfectly. So I just haven't worked up the energy to get out my sewing basket and sew this on, because sewing finishing details are my least favorite thing to do. So yeah, that's almost an FO. And then just two more things. One thing is my temperature blanket that I showed you last week. Not working off a pattern here, really, just an idea I saw on like Ravelry, or not Ravelry, Pinterest or Facebook or something. And each row is one day, and we just have like this temperature scale that we use to determine what color it'll be for each day. The only problem is that I'm still on August 15th is my last crocheted day. But last night I went and I wrote down all of the colors and all of the temperatures that I have in the backlog of things that I need to do. So this way I can just, I don't have to think about it too much. I can just look at this list and go, okay, next I do an orange and then a yellow and then an orange and then a yellow and then an orange. And I usually try to, when I get this far behind, I usually try to do like 5 or 10 rows a day until I catch up. So hopefully I can do some of that this week. Hopefully it won't be quite so hot, so I can do that. And then the other project I have, sorry for reaching, I have everything spread out all around me, is my super secret project that I talked about last week with these 3 red heart colors. And I still have the same amount of progress as last week. I really want to start working on this more so that I can hopefully see if it actually will end up being a finished project or not. So, I believe that is all of my whips, except for my one spinning whip that I've been working a little bit on. This is Gotland wool that I'm spinning up on my drop spindle. I really like spinning with the Scotland. That's why I'm spinning this instead of the C-cell that I was also trying to work on. But I haven't done much spinning on either this week. I haven't done much spinning this week. So yeah, I think that's all my whips. As far as podcasts that I've been watching this week, I've been watching mostly a lot of Knitting Expat. I'm trying to catch up on her episodes because I really like watching her podcast. I've been watching a little bit of Hugh Loco as well. And that's been mostly it. I've also been watching a lot of Netflix this week. So, oh kitten. Crazy kitten. I will try and have our other cats on the podcast at some point. But they don't like being held as much, so it was easiest to bring the kitten on first. Plus, I thought I'd show you the kitten while she's still tiny and adorable before she grows up to be big and adorable. So yeah, that's the podcast I've been watching this week. So now I'll move on to acquisitions, and I'm super excited because I actually have some. So I have acquisitions from 2 sources this week. I went to Joann Fabric this week to get some yarns for a few projects that I have up and coming. So one thing I got was more of this Lion brand Woolease. I got 2 balls of this denim colorway. Nice denim colored yarn. And I'm hoping to use this to make a test balaclava. Because my husband and I both go hiking a lot, even in the winter. And so it'll be nice to have like something to help cover our faces and keep our necks and heads warm. So I'm probably gonna knit our like other balaclavas, our hiking balaclavas, out of a softer yarn than this because it is a little bit scratchy. But I thought I'd test it out on a cheaper yarn first because I'm not sure about the fit of the pattern I'm gonna be using. So I got Woolease, and my husband wants a secondary balaclava for when he goes running in the winter, and so I figure this could work for that because that way when it gets all gross and sweaty from him running in it, I can just throw it in the wash because this is machine washable. So I got 2 balls of that. I also got, they were having a sale on Lion Brand yarn this week, so I also got a ball of this Lion Brand Woolease Chunky, because I've been looking for some chunky yarns, and so they had a sale. And this is in the Willow colorway. It's a lovely like green with little bits of like brownish colors in it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for yet, but I saw it, it was on sale, and I thought, why not? Also from Joann, I got another ball of Woolease. This is in the white multi colorway. I don't know if you can see, but it's got little speckles of sparkle in it. And I also got Lion Brand Landscapes in the Boardwalk colorway. It's lovely, like, look at that rainbow. So excited about this. And these are actually going to go together to hopefully knit an entrelac beret. I think it's by Lion Brand on Ravelry. I'm hoping to knit that because 1, I think these will look great together, and 2, I want to knit them for the knitting competition I'm hoping to enter next year. And so I thought that this would make a really great entrelac contrast with the rainbow and then the white sparkles. So I'm excited to knit that, but I think I'm gonna hold off on all of these new projects that I want to knit for a bit because I really want to get working on those FOs. And then I also placed my first ever order of Knit Picks yarn. Super excited about that. So I got 2 balls of Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the Sequoia Heather colorway. This is a fingering weight yarn, 65% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and 10% Donegal tweed. And these are going to be socks for my husband because I've been wanting to knit him socks for a bit now, and I want to get into more sock knitting. And so I'm just gonna try and knit like probably some vanilla like socks. I've always knit socks cuff down, one at a time, and so I want to try and, because this has 2 lovely balls of yarn already divided up and everything, I'm gonna try and knit toe up 2 at a time so I can use every last bit of this lovely tweedy dark green yarn for his socks. But I'm not going to start these this week, hopefully, because I want to get more of my whips done. And then last but not least, I treated myself too. And I got Knit Picks City Tweed in the Aran weight. And this is in the Cobalt colorway. So it's this lovely blue with little flecks of tweed all through it. And I'm hoping to knit a hat out of this. I was thinking of knitting the Hipster hat by Tin Can Knits, but after I saw the yarn and looked at the pattern again, I'm not sure if I want to knit a hipster hat or not, but I think this will be a hat of some type because I want a hat out of this. So I think this will be a hat. I'm just not sure what yet, and I don't need to know right now because I'm not going to cast on for this week, right? I'm not going to. So those are my acquisitions, and I already showed you the pom-pom makers I also got. Excited to try these out. I might put pom-poms on some of my hats or something. And so I think that's everything. So I'm just gonna try and set goals for next week to try and keep accountable on finishing stuff up. So I think I'm gonna try and finish up my threads and beads scarf minus the bead part because I don't have the beads right now. And I'll try and do like, I really want to try and have lots of FOs next week, so I'm going to try and do the little finishing bits on like all of these almost done things. And then I'm hoping to have that other paved boot cuff done, and hopefully get some work done on my sweater too, because I'd really like to finish that up soon. And then of course my super secret project and my temperature blanket I'm hoping to catch up on. So that's a lot of goals, and besides the goal of not casting on, which we'll see how that goes, yeah, that's a lot of goals for me to work on. So I think I'll have my hands full this week, and hopefully when I see you next week on the podcast, I will have stuck to those goals and not cast on anymore. So again, check me out on Ravelry and Instagram. My Instagram is full of pictures of knitting and cats, so every podcaster's dream, right? And yeah, check me out on Ravelry and Instagram, and go check out the podcast page on Ravelry, and I will see you next week.